Welcome back. Hopefully you're done having leftovers from Thanksgiving at this point. It's about a week after, so welcome back to the Down the Frozen River Duck podcast. Alongside Colby Kephart, Connor Keith, they're both shaking their heads at me. I'm Nick Lanciani. Let's get right into it. Welcome once again to the wonderful standings update we have in the Atlantic Division. Montreal Canadiens atop the standings with 41 points, a 19-4-3 record. Detroit Red Wings sit second with 30 points, 13-8-4 record. Ottawa Senators third with 29 points, a 12-7-5 record. The Boston Bruins currently hold the fourth place in the Atlantic Division, 28 points on the season, 13-8-2 record, having just snapped a 5-game winning streak the other night in Edmonton in a shootout loss. Tampa Bay Lightning fifth in the division, 27 points, 12-11-3 record. Florida Panthers sixth at 26 points, 11-9-4 record. The Buffalo Sabres seventh, 23 points, 10-12-3 record. And in eighth, the Toronto Maple Leafs, 21 points, 8-12-5 record. Anything that stands out to either one of you guys from that division?
I think the main thing is, I might be jumping on the gun a little bit, but Tampa Bay not doing as well I think we expected, and we're getting to that point of the season where you're not giving people the benefit out of the doubt of being early in the season anymore. So Tampa Bay's currently sitting outside the playoff position might be a little cause for concern.
A little concern.
Just a little bit.
Well, I mean, there's lots.
It's only 1 point, so it's not major, but still.
There's a lot of speculation there with Stamkos' contract, obviously.
Which I honestly don't buy that much into.
Oh, I don't, but everyone keeps bringing it up. What if he does become a free agent?
If I were covering the Lightning, I'd be
Blah.
looking at someone like Ryan Callahan, who's not necessarily getting going or getting any power out there.
I don't know. I gotta look at the Twins. Obviously, it sucks. Palat's out. I believe he hasn't returned yet. Just the Twins are kind of slowing down, and it's one of those situations.
In the Metropolitan Division, the New York Rangers are atop the standings, 37 points, a 17-6-3 record. Washington Capitals second with 35 points, 17-5-1 record. New York Islanders third with 32 points, 14-8-4 record. Pittsburgh Penguins fourth in the division with 30 points, 14-8-2 record. New Jersey Devils fifth in the division, 26 points, 12-10-2 record. Philadelphia Flyers currently sitting sixth in the Metropolitan Division with 25 points, 10-10-5 on the season. Carolina Hurricanes seventh with 20 points, an 8-12-4 record. Yeah, it's fewer wins than the Columbus Blue Jackets, but thanks to their overtime losses, they are higher than the eighth place Blue Jackets with 20 points, a 10-16-0 record. Any big takeaways before I go down and just mention the wild cards in the Eastern Conference?
I just think the Devils are still kind of surprising. They're not really sitting in the divisional spot, but I think they're still having a good year. I didn't really see this coming from them.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
People like Palmieri and Zajac are playing really well for them.
So if you're playing along at home, your current wild card spots in the Eastern Conference standings: Pittsburgh Penguins have the first wild card slot with 30 points on the season, and the Boston Bruins currently hold the second wild card position with 28 points on the season. Among the battle, the Tampa Bay Lightning with 27 points, New Jersey Devils and the Florida Panthers each with 26 points on the season. And if you're a suffering Philadelphia fan, and I know this was a recent topic that the majority of their teams, if not all four of the Big Four teams, haven't been that great in the 2015 calendar year, but there might be a little bit of hope for you in that they are within the wild card hunt in the National Hockey League. Taking a look in the Western Conference Central Division standings, the Dallas Stars first in the division, 39 points, a 19-5-1 record. St. Louis Blues second, 33 points, a 15-7-3 record. Nashville Predators third, 30 points, 13-7-4 on the season. Chicago Blackhawks 29 points, 13-9-3. Minnesota Wild 28 points, 12-7-4. Sixth, Winnipeg Jets with 26 points, 12-12-2. And seventh, the Colorado Avalanche with 21 points, 10-14-1 record. Anything surprise you out of this, guys?
Actually, I think no. I can't remember exactly what we predicted way back when before the season started, but I think this is pretty close to what most of us expected for the Central Division. I mean, we have Dallas on top. I don't know. At least Colby's shaking his head, but I think this is sort of how I saw things panning out. Winnipeg left on the outside looking in, Colorado as well. But with the five teams owning there being five playoff teams from the Central Division.
Am I the only one who's still surprised that Colorado is so bad this year?
I'm not surprised at all.
I'm shocked. Kind of thought maybe we were gonna bounce back a little here.
I mean, I don't think I was expecting him to be this bad,
Dead
but I don't
last,
think I
but-
expected.
Okay, but
Yeah, I did not expect them to be in a wild card hunt by
Yeah.
any means.
was Ryan O'Reilly like that crucial to their team?
Arguably, no.
Yeah,
Because-
that's what I was
Because in the
thinking.
last couple of seasons, they've still been in the same spot or thereabouts.
But like they go out and they try to get these young defensemen who they didn't do anything. You send Zadorov down. You send even Grigorenko. You got him sent down. And then you have Gormley. Like, what are you doing with these young defensemen? What are you hoping to do with these
Are you
young?
trying to develop them, or are you trying to just
Yeah, like
sit them on a shelf? And
you have Jerome
Something.
McGinley, who maybe has 2 seasons left, maybe.
thereabouts.
So why do you have someone that old on
If
a
you
team?
don't have the
Yeah.
rest of it.
Yeah, you.
And you brought him in for experience and leadership, and he's a veteran presence, and he's great and all, but do you have anything to
Yeah,
balance that?
there's no hope for playoffs there. Like he's not gonna go hope to get a cup here.
Right.
So is he someone you shop at the deadline or something? I don't know.
I mean, with the attractive qualities of Joe Sakic and Patrick Waugh in their front office and coaching, I mean, you have to be scratching your head. I don't necessarily think that Waugh is the greatest coach that ever lived necessarily, but given how much Waugh and Sakic put into that franchise as players and the instrumental, monumental developments they've just been a part of.
But the worst part is Patrick Waugh, arguably the best goalie of all time to come from the NHL, and some people are still questioning their goaltending. Like,
Well, that's
You're
a
a goal.
long-standing thing with the Avalanche in the last decade.
I know, but you have the greatest goalie of all time at your bench. There's no tips. There's no why don't you go become the goalie coach? Like, there's got to be something to turn this around. You're Patrick Waugh. I mean, come on, man.
And in the Pacific Division, the Los Angeles Kings top the standings, 31 points, 15-8-1 record. San Jose Sharks second, 28 points, 14-10-0. Arizona Coyotes third, 27 points, 13-10-1. Vancouver, 26 points, 9-9-8. It would have been great if they were 9-9-9 just to be, nice and perfect at the numbers. But no, they like to be that one oddity. Anyway, that's just my OCD. Fifth, the Anaheim Ducks with 23 points, 9-12-5. Calgary Flames 6, 20 points, 9-14-2. And in seventh, dead last in the Pacific Division, the Edmonton Oilers with 20 points on the season, 9-15-2. They're on pace for maybe picking up a guy named Austin Matthews. But
Hold on.
what's surprising here?
I
or
got
not
this
surprising?
whole division covered. You may think Edmonton being last is a big surprise, but no, that's not a surprise. The big surprise you're looking at is Arizona being somewhat successful,
It's
and
still
Anaheim
still
not
carrying
being in a
momentum.
playoff spot. That's about the division. Edmonton's always going to finish last in that division. And that division's horrible.
I mean, I've been on the Anaheim bandwagon since day one. Maybe not bandwagon, but you guys know what I've been saying. They're surging.
What have
Corey
you been saying?
Perry's turning it on. I don't think Arizona's sticking around for long. Either them or San Jose. Somebody's got to give because Anaheim's coming.
Well, I think San Jose is making a pretty good case for being San Jose this season. Now, by that I mean the traditional San Jose. I mean, you got dominant Kings still. So if San Jose makes the playoffs, and if they have to face any of the teams that are in California,
Can we just talk about the people who thought Edmonton were going to grow this year? They got Connor McDavid. They're going to be better.
you know,
They're
it's
actually
funny.
worse than they were last year.
You like to bring this up every time we talk about Edmonton. I
That's
feel.
because I knew it wasn't going to happen. It's Edmonton. Mine is-
Colby's carrying a big stick just to prove that he's right.
Yes.
In case you haven't caught on by now on the podcast.
Yes.
But it's true. Edmonton disappointment. I mean, we know Pierre Chiarelli can transition a team from bottom feeder to Stanley Cup winner because he's done that with the Bruins in the past. But how long does it have to take in the Edmonton Oilers? And if you're that fan base, how much longer do you have to be starving for, I don't know, hope? Something?
They all still question their goaltending every night. It seems like they're just questioning the goaltending. And to me, you didn't know what Cam Talbot was going to do in the change of location. He had really strong 6 in front of him in New York.
I could have told you what he was going to do. He was going to battle for being a starter.
Yeah,
Not be the starter, but battle for it.
Battle for being the starter, but not succeeding.
Well, it's a similar type of thing.
He may be the number 1, but not a good number 1.
We're going to get to it a little bit later, in about a few minutes. We're going to talk about Jonathan Bernier and the fallout in Toronto.
Yeah.
And goaltenders in general. But as long as there's nothing else major that we want to talk about the division, we'll talk about, just to recap, the 2 wildcard spots in the Western Conference both happen to be within Central Division teams. The Chicago Blackhawks, 29 points, have the first spot. The Minnesota Wild have the second wildcard position, 28 points on the season. If you're wondering who's close, it's really just Winnipeg and Vancouver with 26 points each. So, big whoop. Western Conference, pretty much exactly how it's playing out, how we thought.
Mm-hmm.
That brings us to our winners and losers this week. Large Eastern Conference influence this time around. Our winners have, aside from their shootout loss the other night, the Boston Bruins, 13-8-2. One of our winners this week. Washington Capitals, 17-5-1. Another one of our winners this week. And the Detroit Red Wings, 13-8-4 on the season. Another, or third and final winner. Anything you guys want to highlight among those 3 winners that we have chosen?
I'd just like to say Detroit's kind of surprised me. I was not really expecting them to be second in the division. To be honest, I was expecting that to be Tampa Bay or Montreal, who have obviously 1 or 2. So that's kind of surprising. Other than that, I mean, I know Connor was kind of feeling Washington a little more.
Yeah, I mean, they're on a 5-game win streak right now, which, I mean, it's the longest streak, either winning or losing in the league right now. And Braden Holtby was also named not just goalie of the month last month, but one of the 3 stars of the month last month. So he's definitely starting to get, well, maybe not starting to get his game under, but he's waking up and making it happen.
And if you want to talk back in reference to our predictions at the beginning of the season,
We had
before the
Washington
season,
getting cup stuff.
Yeah, well,
I did.
maybe just short of that, but we had Washington doing pretty well and high up there.
That's right. Colby has Washington and Dallas still, and he's well on his way. You could put any money down in Vegas on that?
No.
Probably should have.
Don't know if you will, if there's a team there at all in the future, but anyway, expansion's kind of not being talked about this month at the Board of Governors meetings and whatnot in Boca Raton. But anyway, we have the Bruins in there simply for the sake of, we know they're inconsistent, but we also know that they are just kind of hanging around in a spot to be fighting for in the Atlantic Division, or at least the Eastern Conference, whether it be at a wild card spot or potentially a divisional standing. If they get one more win or a couple more wins, they could be third or second, or they could lose and other teams could win. They'll be out of it real quick. So that's why we have them as one of our winners. Our losers this week, we have the Tampa Bay Lightning. I know, shocker, Tampa Bay, 12-11-3, but they're 5th in the Atlantic Division, currently outside of the playoff spot. Carolina Hurricanes, 8-12-4. Probably doesn't come as much of a surprise. Hurricanes have been a loser before for us this season. And another surprise, the Winnipeg Jets, the only Western Conference team that we named this week, 12-12-2. They haven't moved out of the 6th spot or anywhere near 3rd or divisional playoff standing. I mean, what's it going to take to get one of the guys just to start going and doing something and carry the entire franchise in Winnipeg? I mean,
I don't know. Winnipeg's a strange situation for me because I feel like there's a lot going on in the locker room that is surprising most people.
There definitely is. I mean, they have the prospects and everything else, but the chemistry isn't exactly there.
My issue is I think there's something more into this with Dustin Byfuglien. I think I don't know why he's being actively shopped so much. I feel like there's got to be something more. That's my only thought about it, at least.
Yeah, Connor, you got anything else?
I think I'm going to go with Tampa Bay just based on what we expected them to be doing this year. And again, I said it before, we're getting to that point where it's not it's the beginning of the season, they'll work out the kinks, they'll get in shape. I mean, given they're only a point out of the playoff spot, so it's, the world's not ending by any stretch of the imagination. But I think we expected Tampa Bay not to be scrapping for a playoff spot.
We expect them to be like first.
Yeah, exactly. But to be
We expect them to
competing
be
with them in
Dallas,
Montreal,
basically.
to be rocking that division and taking command of it, and the fact that they are still worried about getting into the playoff picture is, I don't know if alarming is the right word yet. I mean, it's still just the beginning of December, but maybe starting to grow a point of concern if we get into the new year and Tampa Bay still
Outside of the
just
picture.
just hanging out right there on a wild card spot or what have you. I mean, I don't know. This is a team that was in the Cup final last year and we were not expecting them to be in the position they're in.
Well, we have passed the traditional mark of the season being Thanksgiving in America, where it's, if you're in playoff position, you're more than likely to make it. If you're not, you're more likely not to make it. Or if you're one of those borderline teams, well, you're going to be having a fighting season, good battle for the rest of the year. Good luck to you.
I mean, if to go touch on the last loser, being Carolina, I think the reason why they made it as our loser was because statistically this year they have been out shooting most of their teams and kind of having a lot of control of these games, but they're not
They're behind on the scoreboard.
Yeah, they're not finding a way to hit the net. They're not getting the goaltending they need. Whatever it may be, they're not doing it, and it's hurting them. And young defensemen like Hannafin, who it took a while for him to get his first goal. I understand, yes, he's a defender, but it took him a decent bit. He had a few games where he was scratched, and you just run into other situations. Obviously, we just watched Connor Murphy the other day. Last year, he was in the NHL almost the whole year, and now he's getting sent down in the Charlotte Checkers. So it's one of those situations where they're always adjusting with these young players.
And this week's honorable mentions, Colby has selected the...
New York Islanders?
Yes, he has put them in the winner category.
You're right.
They're not
We were
surprised.
guessing. Which one did we do again?
Anything to back up that claim? Or
I've said the New York Islanders are a winner just because they've stayed fairly healthy this year. Obviously, Halak had a little issues in the beginning, but for the most part, they're staying healthy compared to at least my personal team, Buffalo. I mean, they stay way healthier than us. Even I would say a team like St. Louis has had a few injury issues also. So I'm just putting them in there because their players staying healthy. They're out there winning games because they can put the best product on the ice.
yeah, and they're quietly doing their job. There's no media circus around them about being the last year. No, they're in their brand new first year in Barclays Center. I mean, brand new
Good
by
or bad,
NHL standards,
yeah.
and many sightlines are issues, but they're quietly able to get their work
Absolutely.
done. Connor, your honorable
Yeah.
mention this week,
Mine-
also in the winner category.
Yeah, mine's a winner.
Although maybe by a long shot.
Well, I don't know. If we're looking at it more in a power ranking sort of scenario
And
right
streaks
now.
recently.
Winning streak. I mean, we talked about Washington having the longest win streak. Florida's right behind, I believe, tied for the second longest streak. Yes. They've got a 3-game win streak right now. They beat the St. Louis Blues on Monday or Tuesday, whichever day that was. I don't know. Again, it's another team that I don't think we're expecting them to make the playoffs, but it's a team that I have noticed the last couple of years being close. And I think it's good for them to be able to see these results on the ice. I don't think many people, as a whole, think of Florida with a winning record, and they definitely have one right now at 11-9-4.
Well, Luongo's had, just to add a little thing, Luongo's had a decent season. The other night he had a good shutout. What was it? You were talking about you should have played him a few weeks ago. He had like a 51 save shutout.
It was like against the Rangers or something.
Yeah,
It was ridiculous how many
he had a
saves he had.
ridiculous number of saves. So he's had a strong season, which is leading to their success.
Mm-hmm.
And now for a little promotion of interaction with the fans, if anyone actually listens to this, which hopefully you do. Thank you if you do. If you don't, well, what's the point in insulting them because they don't listen anyway. But bonus points if you can prove to us whether or not the Philadelphia Flyers are winners or losers this week, because that was a team that we were considering including this segment. But we'll let that be up to you. Once again, the wonderful fans of Down the Frozen River. So that brings us to our 3 major things for this week. Talking goalies, talking cross-checking, and talking our favorite coach in the National Hockey League, John Tortorella. In the goaltending situations, Carey Price, it was just announced whatever ago, for the Montreal Canadiens, going to be out about 6 weeks. Will likely miss the Winter Classic. Well, without a doubt. We'll probably miss the 2016 NHL Winter Classic in Foxborough at Gillette Stadium this year against the Bruins. The Canadiens subsequently called up Zach Foucault from St. John's and sent down Dustin Tokarski. Now they have Mike Condon, who is impressive, Massachusetts native, who's been holding the Canadiens in. But we know they have depth in the crease. But what's kind of the long-term plan here without Carey Price in the picture?
They're just going to give Condon the number one the way he's been playing. You're going to look at a similar situation to last year.
With Andrew Hammond?
No, I was thinking
And
Lundqvist.
Oh,
I was thinking when Lundqvist went down, Cam Talbot stepped up. Boom.
I was thinking along the lines of someone who came out of nowhere.
Oh, yeah, Hammond. Well, that's just my opinion. Obviously, maybe I'm surprised Tokarski got sent down, to be honest, but it is what it is. Condon, I will probably still get most of the games.
Yeah, the simple go with the hot goaltender. Braden Holtby, as Connor alluded to before, on a bit of a hot streak.
Mm-hmm.
Does this continue to add to his case for being elite?
I think Colby brought it up, actually. I think he said it was Kevin Weeks said that he thinks Holtby is the second best goalie in the league right now behind, I think you said Lundqvist?
Yes.
So, I mean, that's some pretty high remarks. And just the way he's been able to lead this Capitals team that we already know can score with Ovechkin on the other end of the ice. To having both those anchors on either end, knowing you should be able to win those matchups, is definitely a plus that I would like to have with my team.
In Colorado, Semyon Varlamov is expected to get a little more ice time than he's been receiving, given the fact that, well, they're terrible this year. And Reto Berra has been better than Varlamov, but is it time to give Varlamov a second chance and say, all right, it's yours to fight for, bud?
It's a tough situation. Varlamov, his whole career has really been up and down. I guess I would give him another chance because he has the ability when he's hot. He can be a
number
really
one
good
goalie,
goalie. Yes, but he's been slumping. You gotta get his confidence up. Maybe this is it though. Maybe you're looking, maybe a Hiller trade with Calgary. Maybe something. I don't know. If I was both those teams, I'd be looking to make a move. You need to change location. You need something to happen for these goalies right now.
Remember that big stick Colby was carrying before? Yeah, just make that a little more bold. The Maple Leafs, as we alluded to just a couple minutes prior, Jonathan Bernier sent down 10-day, 10-game, whatever, conditioning stint with Toronto Marlies in the AHL. They called up Garrett Sparks, 22-year-old from Elmhurst, Illinois, 6'2", 200 pounds. Impressive in his debut. Had a couple of solid outings. Whether they ended up winning them or not, that's the Maple Leafs. But pretty nice looking leg pads. If you've seen them, it's a nice checkerboard design with the Maple Leaf on it.
Yeah, he's got another game tonight, actually. We're recording this on Thursday. He's got another game tonight. I'm trying to pull up who it is against. I can't remember off the top of my head. But I think that'll be a good indicator. You know, we've gotten this whole premiere out of the way. You've gotten your first skate under you, and now it's Minnesota,
really
which is, I mean, Minnesota's no offense to laugh at either.
No, that's a test for the Maple Leafs right there.
Yeah, just to see how that holds up. I mean, obviously Toronto's hoping for, that shutout win. I mean, that's what you're always looking for. But Minnesota's definitely gonna point out some holes and see how good the kid really is.
And Bernier obviously has got to recollect himself, do something. I don't know, start if he isn't already, do yoga, meditating, whatever it is.
You're
to
gonna
get
send
back.
him to Fleury's sports therapist.
I'm gonna get him into some Zen mode or whatever, just as a goalie.
Okay, so
What's going on with him?
obviously we've all made fun of Calgary's goaltender situation. Now, we've picked on Toronto's a little bit, but if you're Calgary, are you thinking about trading for Bernier? Do you think a change of location could save his career?
Didn't the Kings try that with sending him to Toronto in the first place?
I don't know. Maybe
I mean, that's what Toronto brought him in on the basis of, he's going to be our number one. He's going to be great. Change of location will be even better for him. He'll have a chance to compete and not have to battle with Jonathan Quick.
Yeah, I don't know his contract situation, so that obviously plays into things.
It's an extension from.
But the hard part for
summer.
Calgary is they know that their season, unless they just pull something crazy out of their hat, it's pretty much over already.
Yeah.
So
Fair statement. And both of the teams aren't going anywhere.
right, and so
Calgary,
Worst
we
case
don't know if it's
scenario-
long haul. Toronto, we know it's
right. So it's like worst case scenario, you pull him in. You know you're not winning anyway. If you don't, unless he starts winning, nothing bad has happened to you that's not already happening, and you just sample it out and see how that looks going into 15-16.
I mean, and I'm not saying it'd be a huge, major package of 3-for-1 type of deal,
Right.
but if they threw a few different things to get the contract with Bernier to Calgary, I mean, I'm not saying it's a star goaltending tandem, but you could have Hiller and Bernier. And you'd do decently. I mean, you wouldn't be dominating the league, but those are two solid enough goaltenders where
Right.
you wouldn't be relying on Ordio
Especially
or,
with the
man,
defense
or
that
anyone.
they have.
Screw it. Calgary's just gonna sell everyone. We're gonna go on a fire sale. I'll take Goudreau.
It'll be a flaming deal.
Ha ha ha.
What? We're gonna bring Varlamov in for Hiller. Now we're gonna get Bernier and
Whoa,
get
whoa,
Rambo
whoa,
up.
whoa.
There we go. We're just gonna have 2 new goalies.
Even more crazy than before. Cross checks have been a major issue in the last week or two. We've had the Brandon Dubinsky incident on Sidney Crosby, cross check to the head, a little bit of the neck, the back, whatever. Johnny Oduya on Zach Parise, and Victor Arvidsson on Carlo Koliakovo. Some of these have been talks of potential hearings and suspensions. Other have been, well, it's no big deal. Please don't do that again, but it's no big deal. I mean, arguably, we all know sitting here, cross-checking, that's a penalty, obviously. Hitting to the head with a cross-check, that's bad too, and you shouldn't do that. And that,
Not nice,
to me,
kids.
that should be, which it probably already is, automatic suspension type of thing. Game misconduct, go sit out for the rest of the game at the very least. I mean, this is something that the league had a big issue with in the Pioneer days, when you had guys like Eddie Shore just go on a rampage, or Maurice Richard. When they got ticked off, they just start swinging their sticks at other guys' heads, and that's not okay. I mean, on the streets you do that, and you get arrested for assault. On the ice, I mean,
You get 2 minutes, buddy.
Yeah.
all right, but it's like, all right, you need to step up and.
Uduya for his hit only got 2 minutes. Victor Edverson did get 5 for his hit on Koliakovo. Not too sure about Dubinsky and Crosby, but
Can't remember.
Dubinsky got suspended, didn't he? One game.
believe so.
One game, which at the very least, yeah, do that, because it's
But there was
trying to get a point across of, hey, we know whether you did this intentionally or not, if you just had a
but the
little
thing-
lapse, but
the-
that's not okay.
The thing that upsets me is Crosby, because it's Crosby involved, we get a 1 game. We don't get hearings for Johnny Oduya or this Victor Edverson or whatever. Now, Koliakovo's already been quoted by the media saying, I don't believe Edverson meant to do it and all this stuff. But if you watch the one that Oduya had on Parise, that was huge. That was full intentional to the back of the head, and it's just a dangerous play. It's not worth it. And it's upsetting to see the league didn't do more. There was no hearings. Yet to be held, at least.
I mean, you can argue whether this is a clear issue with Rule 48.1 or if it's something that's been in the league for longer, other rules. But is it something that they're going to have to revisit in the short term? Maybe. I mean, at least to sit everyone down and be like, look, guys, here's a memo.
Well,
Don't do this. You won't get away with it because
those
this is not a nice thing to do, and it's not reflective of how we want our players to act on the ice. And well, little kids watching them and going to play youth hockey.
it might just be like a warning thing sent out because those 3 incidents happened within like a 3-day span.
I mean, if it were 3 within the year, I mean, it's no
Yeah,
big deal.
it's
It's hey, that's against the rules. Please don't do that. But it's not a this is 3 in a week type thing. And well, that's kind of an issue now.
Yeah, and we'll see if it keeps going from here.
So shall we talk about our favorite coach?
Yeah, I'm excited for this segment.
Well, that's why I'm just gonna leave it right to you,
Well-
John Tortorella. Get at it.
Obviously, we're going to talk about Torts right now. So, my thought process about this was, is Tortorella really making Columbus better than they were? And arguably, I'm saying no.
No.
Yeah, they're 10-16-0, 8th in the Metropolitan Division,
His
dead
record.
last in the Eastern Conference, and a tie for last in the league.
I'm not
Points
saying
wise, anyway.
he's not a good coach, but
Oh no, he's
There-
still the
his
greatest
re-
American coach.
his record while he's been there, they basically win a game, lose a game, win a game, lose a game, win a game. Where's the? You need to put games together.
Let's say in the same turn though, before he showed up, it was lose the game, lose the game, lose the game. So maybe they are a slightly better.
By
but in the
having
grand
won at
scheme of
least one.
thing, though, I agree. I don't think that they're doing any different with
But
who
this
they
is the-
have now versus who they had before. You know, I don't think that
But-
the coaching change is what the issue is. We said it before. It's the fact that they didn't put any effort into putting anybody in front of their goal. The
Building
defense
a
is
roster.
And that's the other
atrocious.
thing is Bobrovsky's turned his game around now. Bobrovsky has more confidence and he's
Yeah.
playing better than he was in the start of the season.
Well, he's needed to because that defense just can't do anything but be Swiss cheese for him.
Look, the real issue here is they brought in Gregory Campbell to try fix things.
Grit, man, grit.
Heart and grit, guys. It's all about heart and grit.
It's
And
just
being good.
It's upsetting because I feel like he shouldn't have got fired. I feel
Right.
like Torts shouldn't be here. I like Torts. I like everything about him. What media person doesn't though? Because he's
He's
a
an easy
basket
story.
case.
Yeah, he's an easy story.
Yeah.
The
So
story writes itself.
it's just one of those situations where
Except when he doesn't talk. But yeah, if you're Jonathan Tortorella. It's just like Jonathan Davis. Anyway, if you're John Tortorella, if you're Torts, your mindset going into Columbus is
I don't know. I
your
okay.
mindset right now with Columbus is
So you try to put wins together. Let's get some back to backs
Right.
going.
your mindset moving forward is
I mean,
will I
do-
have this job?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, do you think you're gonna be there long enough to?
If they finish 30th
Make
in the
this thing
league,
happen.
then it's not.
Yeah,
It's
I
not
mean, 'cause
Tortorella,
personally,
it's
if
the
based
team.
on what they did this offseason, do I want to be there if I know my GM's not going to put together a team for me to win? I mean, I'm not signing up for that personally.
Colby, final thought on this?
I figured out what his game plan is. His game plan is after practice, go to the GM's office and keep demanding for a new defenseman to come in
Yeah.
because they need it.
I'd love to be a fly on the wall between the Kekalainen and Tortorella meetings that they have. I mean, it's always fun. Can the Blue Jackets do something like a bunch of teams are doing? We watch the Caps red line and behind the B and the Canadians 24 whatever thing.
Oh, you're talking
And that
about
would be good TV, just to see Tortorella go crazy and stuff. Anyway, this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday only, we have a lot of games on the docket. Friday night, we got 7 games. The Arizona Coyotes taking on the Buffalo Sabres, the Philadelphia Flyers taking on the New Jersey Devils, Florida Panthers taking on the Columbus Blue Jackets, St. Louis Blues taking on the New York Islanders, the Boston Bruins taking on the Calgary Flames, Dallas Stars taking on the Edmonton Oilers, and the San Jose Sharks taking on the Anaheim Ducks. That's 7 games on Friday. Saturday, we have 10 games on the docket. The Washington Capitals versus Winnipeg Jets, Pittsburgh Penguins versus Los Angeles Kings, New York Islanders versus the Ottawa Senators, Nashville Predators and the Detroit Red Wings. That'll be on NHL Network in the United States. Montreal Canadiens and the Carolina Hurricanes. Hockey Night in Canada is Toronto and St. Louis Blues matchup. That'll be the first game. The later game being the Boston Bruins and Vancouver Canucks on CBC. Columbus Blue Jackets taking on the Philadelphia Flyers. Wow. Colorado Avalanche taking on the Minnesota Wild. Tampa Bay Lightning taking on the San Jose Sharks as the Lightning go out on a little Western Conference swing. Sunday, 7 games on the calendar. Arizona Coyotes taking on the Carolina Hurricanes. Winnipeg Jets taking on the Chicago Blackhawks. The Florida Panthers taking on the New Jersey Devils. Ottawa Senators taking on the New York Rangers. Buffalo Sabres taking on the Edmonton Oilers. This will not be an Eichel-McDavid matchup as it looks right now, which
Thanks,
is
Connor McDavid.
disappointing. Shame on you, Connor McDavid. Really, no big deal. Just get healthy. The Pittsburgh Penguins and the Anaheim Ducks. That'll be on NHL Network in the United States. And the Tampa Bay Lightning and Los Angeles Kings. Not having all the time in the world to go over weekend matchups and picks that we were watching. Connor's weekend watch game that he is most intrigued about Saturday night.
Saturday night. I thought it was Sunday night. The Ottawa New York game, or did I go Ottawa Islanders?
You went with the Islanders and the Senators.
Is that the one I went with? That is the one I went with.
So before this, I asked him what he was going to
And
go
Connor
with.
forgot to keep track of it. Well,
Follow
I can
along,
actually
follow
now.
along with this pattern. The St. Louis Blues and New York Islanders taking on each other. So that was one of his picks. The New York Islanders and the Ottawa Senators taking on each other. So if you notice, Islanders treading with the Islanders. And the Ottawa Senators and the New York Rangers taking one another on later in the week. So he went with St.
Which
Louis,
plays
New
into
York,
my
New York,
confusion.
Ottawa, New York.
Yeah, which plays into my confusion, I think. So now that I have my head back on there, the Isles at Ottawa, I'm just interested in that one just because of the implications it has within the Eastern Conference standings, as well as both of those, I think it's easy to say, are pretty good teams. I don't think they're getting quite the attention either. So it's just a good opportunity for both those squads to go up against each other and just show up what both teams have.
I mean, Ottawa shocked Dallas. When was it ago? In the 7-4 victory
Can't remember.
in Dallas, but they've been quietly doing their
Yeah,
thing.
they're just doing
They're a
the
young
same thing
team,
like
they're a
Kobe
good
said with the
team.
Isles. Yeah, they're just doing their thing, winning games, and nobody's
Staying
paying
healthy.
attention. Yep.
And if you're wondering what games I will be intrigued to check out, I mean, we have the Philadelphia Flyers taking on the New Jersey Devils. I want to expand on that one. The Boston Bruins and Vancouver Canucks on Saturday. I'm going to expand on that one in just a moment. Bear with me. And the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Los Angeles Kings. That's the one I'm going to...
He said,
Check out
bear
on
with me
Sunday.
about the Bruins. It's
Oh.
funny.
How funny. Very punny. But the Bruins and Canucks game, that is one I'm most intrigued about on Saturday night. Not from the standpoint of, well, they still kind of hate each other from 2011. But from the standpoint of the Bruins are on their Western Canada road trip right now, and which a lot of pieces of former Boston organization personnel and or players are scattered about all those Canadian teams. They just played Edmonton the other day. Andrew Ference is out there. He was a healthy scratch again. So was Benoit Pouliot. Peter Chiarelli is their GM, former GM of the Bruins. Calgary they're taking on Friday night. Gonna face Dougie Hamilton and Dennis Weidman if you want to go more former Bruins. But Saturday night, the Bruins taking on the Vancouver Canucks. Chiarelli's assistant GM in Benning is the general manager of Vancouver now. Matt Barkowski's in Vancouver now. Barkowski might have found himself a home for once. So that's going to be intriguing to see what comes out of that matchup. Because the Bruins have been inconsistent here and there. And Vancouver, on the other hand, have been right around potential playoff spot in the Western Conference. Although, going back, taking a look at things, before we even started the season, we were counting them out. We were saying they didn't do anything in the offseason. What were they thinking? They just went for a tank. But I think the Canucks will be a very, very intense matchup with the Bruins. I'm intrigued to see how that one plays out. So any last thoughts from Colby, Connor, or myself, if I can think of any?
Hockey's good. Watch it.
Hockey's
Good
good.
games this
Hockey's
weekend.
great. Hope you have a great one. We got one side announcement to make. We have one more final podcast of 2015 coming up next week. Because, we all have lives in college and stuff. So, from all of us here at the Down the Frozen River podcast, Connor, Keith, Colby Cupar, I'm Nick Lanciani. We'll see you next week for our final one of 2015.